was never the right solution for our country.
Joining us now is House Minority Whip Steny Hoyer. And Leader Hoyer, thank you for being here today.
You bet, Becky.
So we heard the president's thoughts on this last night. I know that you brought someone with you because you are so opposed to this idea of a rollback of Obamacare. The one thing the president has said again and again, President Trump, is that, look, if you're in a situation, he thinks some of these things are good. If you are somebody who has pre-existing conditions, and maybe if you are a child, you can stay on your parents' health care up until age 26. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen, because the Republicans have been talking about that for 6 years, about how they want to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Trump's been talking about it for 15 months or longer, even before he started running for president. We still have no bill from President Trump. We have no bill from the Republicans. We have a plan that was leaked from the Republicans, which apparently now Mr. Scalise said is not operative. But as long as it was operative or on the table, you saw substantial division within the Republican Party as to whether it was a viable alternative. So the Affordable Care Act has made real progress in covering America, getting America access to affordable quality health care, preventive care. And of course, what the Republicans know is that there are a lot of citizens who liked a lot of the facets of the Affordable Care Act. Is it working perfectly? No. Should we be working to make it better? Yes. Have we been doing that? No, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. But when President Trump, as you just put in this clip, says he wants to do all the things that will make it more accessible, make it cheaper, make it better, but he doesn't tell us how he's going to do it, doesn't tell us how he's going to pay for it, and says the mandate, which of course was included so that insurance companies would have more clients, the risk, which is what insurance is all about, and therefore make it affordable. You eliminate that mandate, which, by the way, was a Heritage Action or Heritage Foundation proposal many years ago, on which Romney Care in Massachusetts was based. If you eliminate that, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to have insurance companies in the market? So I don't think we got much realistic talk. We got some happy talk last night, and the difference was it was a little bit kinder, gentler than President Trump has been. Certainly a little softer in tone than the inaugural address, which in my opinion was a discussion of carnage that did not exist. But we'll see what they propose. Talk is cheap, policy is tougher, and let's see what they come up with. But they didn't do it last night, and President Trump didn't do it last night. But it was a speech that I'm sure some of the objectives resonated with the American people. We all want to have all of our children get good quality education. Right. But how you do that is the trick.
Leader Hoyer, one of those kinder, gentler turns from last night was the president saying that he would like to work with the opposition, with the Democrats, to get some of these issues passed. I don't know that I would expect too much on that front when it comes to the rollback of the Affordable Care Act, but certainly there are areas where for a long time Democrats and Republicans have needed, or have seemed to be like there could be some room for compromise on the two sides when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to tax reform. Is any of that something that you think is likely to get bipartisan support?
I don't know whether it's likely to get, but I agree with you, Becky, that it is possible. Clearly, we have been talking for a long time about infrastructure investment. President's right. We've been right for a long period of time, saying we need to invest in infrastructure. But of course, then you come to the question, okay, we have an agreement on we need to do it. How do we pay for it? And that's where it comes a cropper.
Exactly, which is why nothing's gotten done to this point. Is there something where we can actually see some sort of agreement? And by the way, if they don't get that agreement, they might just roll right over your head anyway when they control both sides of the House and the Senate.
You know, Becky, let me make an observation on they control both sides. If they control both sides and we're not divided, John Boehner would still be the Speaker of the House of Representatives. They may have the numbers, but they have deep division. You saw Mark Meadows, who heads up the Freedom Caucus, say that the health care sort of outline that was sort of put on the table a week ago or so, said that was not acceptable to him. And the head of the RSC said the same thing, which is a majority of their conference. So, yes, they have the majority in terms of the numbers, but they don't have agreement within their party. They don't have a consensus, which you need to have. As you know, Becky, when Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer were Speaker and Majority Leader, we didn't get any Republican votes. We got 218 on our side of the aisle to enact the policies that we thought were important for the American people.
Does that mean?
And the Republicans don't have that.
But does that mean that they should not be expecting any help from the Democratic side of the aisle? I'm sorry.
No. Becky, I want to make it very clear that we are prepared to work with the Republicans and work with the president on policies that we can come to agreement on. Okay. What we won't do is just have it put on the table and said, take it or leave it. We'll probably leave it and see if the Republicans can take it on their own. They haven't done too well on that over the last 6 years. But we are prepared to work with the president on infrastructure. I was heartened by the fact that he said that he was prepared to work on comprehensive immigration reform. We think that's a positive statement. Whether he can deliver any of his party to do that is problematic, but we're certainly prepared to work on that, and we're prepared to work on other things if we can do so in a way that is a compromise and not just simply a take it or leave it proposition coming from the president or the Republicans.
Like the original Obamacare passage.
Well, now, let me say something on that. No. Let me say something on that. You brought that up.
I didn't say anything, Stanley. I was just kidding. I was just joking,
well,
I swear.
But people don't kid on that. They think we jammed that through. That was under consideration for some 18 months. Had scores and scores of committee hearings on both the Senate and the House and town meetings all over. It was not just a take it or leave it.
I'll take it back.
Leader Hoyer,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. I'm still pulling for Maryland, but they disappoint.